Who joined up? Anybody? Nobody? It's not showing anybody. It's pretty nifty. Sitting here talking to myself. It's pretty nifty. All right, well, I might as well make this short and sweet. So first of all, I wanted to tell you guys Happy New Year. I mean, we're finally here. We've made it to the end of 2020 without exploding or dying or anything else. So that's neat. But really the point of tonight's video is I wanted to announce officially on YouTube that the website is finally up and running. So if you check down in the description here, you'll see the link to the website, and we also have merchandise. So that's really exciting. I kind of wanted to do a soft opening on that because I wanted to make sure everything shipped okay and there weren't any bugs with payment processing and everything. And we have successfully shipped 2 items from the store. So head on over to dieselironproductions.com and merchandise is available for purchase there. And then the other thing I actually need to dig into my phone for. Hey Marcus, Jimmy, what's going on, guys? Thanks for joining in on New Year's Eve. I'm an old man, so I'm sitting at home tonight instead of going out partying because I'm actually 80 in spirit. So I guess I could flip over to chat here. What's going on, guys? So the other thing I was going to talk about is in January, I'm going to officially go live at the end of January. Let's call it January 24th. And we're going to do it at 7:30 p.m., kind of similar to what I'm doing tonight. And that will be my first live session where it's going to be just kind of an open Q&A. So far, my channel has always been one way where you guys kind of sit and watch me talk. And what I really want to do is open a 2-way dialogue so that you guys can actually ask real-time questions and we can actually have a bit of a conversation here. So, hey, Gavin, thanks. Appreciate it, man. So, hey, Marcus, I can relate, buddy. I'm with you. So anyway, so the 24th of January, 7:30 p.m., mark your calendars. We are going to go live here. And I'm not going to, for the first one, because I don't really know what to expect for turnout, and I don't think you guys really know what to expect either. We're not going to have a topic for discussion, so we can kind of keep it open and loose. If you guys want to talk about how to get into the industry, we can do that. If you guys have some specific questions about different types of equipment, we can do that as well. So, oh yeah. What's up, Phil? Do you say it Phil's? Is it Phil's? I never know how to pronounce your name when I see it in the comments, but I really appreciate all the support, man. I really appreciate it. You comment on pretty much every video. And yeah, it's Australia. It's not New Year's yet here. We're sitting at what? 7:50, almost 8 o'clock tonight. So we're getting there. And it's probably, I think it's a bad connection on your end, honestly, because I think we're doing okay. It was working on my phone earlier anyway, and it says I got a good connection here. I don't know. This is my first time live. I really don't know what's going on. So anyway, that's all I really had for tonight. I mean, I'll hang out for a couple minutes in case anybody else has any questions. But other than that, that's really all I had. Just announcing the 24th and announcing the store. And yeah, so all right, man. We'll see ya. Awesome. So are you guys getting any, and we'll just use this as a test for the 24th since it's just a couple of us in here. Are you guys getting any sort of reverberation or echoes or anything? I'm using my new microphone and I don't really know what it sounds like on your end. James, I'm not opposed to mentoring calls. I've actually got a guy down in Florida that I've kind of been mentoring on the phone. So if you want to work something out, either message me privately or you can email me at thatdiggerdude@gmail.com. I have no problem setting up time for us to do some phone calls and absolutely help you out. Awesome. Thanks, Gavin. Appreciate the feedback on that. This is kind of weird because I'm really sitting in a room with a camera talking to myself and I can't really hear any audio back. This is, like I said, earlier, this is, you would think I would be used to talking into a camera from doing all the like regular videos, but it's totally different being here sitting live in front of an audience talking to a camera, but you guys are over here on the computer screen. This is odd and awkward, so. And this is where it would be great too, where if I had filler conversation, if we had an actual topic of discussion, it would be great to have some filler conversations so you guys aren't sitting here staring at me being quiet. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of, yeah, exactly, Jimmy, awkward. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about tonight. I really didn't know what to expect. This is, you know, more of a test than anything. I got new software and everything so that I can go live, and I was kind of experimenting with that, and then kind of unintentionally went fully live instead of making it unlisted. But hey, it works. We're all hanging out here on New Year's Eve because we have nothing better to do, or at least I have nothing better to do. You guys might have, actually, do you guys have plans later? I know a couple of you guys have already said you don't. Hey, Gibson, what's going on, man? By the way, how is the hat? Like, from a quality standpoint, how do you like the hat? Because I haven't gotten mine yet, and I'm really curious on how the embroidery quality is and everything. Awesome. Glad to hear. That's really exciting. I've got a couple of them coming in. They should be here after the new year. That's awesome. So shipping time wasn't too bad either, because you ordered that, what, on the 28th, I think? 27th, somewhere in there? That's really, I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. I got to get a couple, you know, not that I don't want to keep supporting Shifsky here, but I got my own merch now. So what kind of company are you working for, Gavin? Just out of curiosity. I appreciate the support, by the way. This whole channel, so we have, just to give you kind of some insight on my side of this whole thing, we have been hitting it hardcore since about March of this year, and we've grown. It took us forever to get to 2,000 subscribers, and we started around 1,200. Then we kind of hit this new ramp up point, and over the next 3 to 4 months, we hit 2,000 subscribers. And then over the last month and a half, 2 months, over the last month and a half, 2 months, we've like started to rock it up. I think we're up to like 550 subscribers in the last 30 days. So all that to say, you guys are driving this channel, and I cannot tell you enough how much we appreciate the support on this end. This has been a giant experiment for us. I kind of got myself fired, lost my job back in March, and that's when my wife and I made the decision to, like, let's just go push this hardcore. And it was a little hit and miss there for a little bit, and I was getting a little nervous. But I mean, lately, you guys are carrying the channel, and I cannot tell you enough how much that is just, it's super exciting for us. So are you doing, so going back to Gavin, sorry, I got sidetracked there. So are you doing like site development for, is it like new subdivisions and stuff? Are you doing commercial property development? You know, kind of, what kind of stuff are you doing? Are you doing underground work? I'm assuming doing site development, you're probably doing initial land balancing and then maybe putting in some storm, stuff like that. Thanks, Gibson. I really like your channel too. You're putting out some good stuff, which, by the way, guys in the chat, go check out Gibson's channel. He's just firing up, and he's got some really good stuff up there in Canada, right? Cold effing Canada. You guys are getting hammered by snow, or no, you're in New York, aren't you? Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Which, by the way, I say it in all of my videos, and I do genuinely mean it. If you guys, if there's any subject you guys have questions on, absolutely don't hesitate to throw me a message or shoot me a comment, or, you know, right now in the chat here, give me video ideas, because there's like the aspect of, I kind of want to go down a path of videos that I'm making just to kind of keep it consistent and give people some starting tips, but at the same time, I have no problem sidetracking for something that you guys want to see. I would totally love for you guys, the audience, to take over the channel and really tell me what you guys are looking for content. I've already made, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 videos at someone's request. And I'm all about that. That's really what this channel is for teaching. And it's whether you're in the industry as an operator, getting into the industry, or if you just like the industry and don't know anything about it, ask away. I have no problem making videos on topics that you guys pick. Yeah, so you were in Canada, Gibson. Yeah, that was, by the way, do you want to be called Gibson? Because I don't know your first name, unless it's actually Gibson. So let me know what you want to be called, and I'll keep referring to you, hopefully by your first name if I can remember it. Gotcha. So are you actually operating, Gavin, or are you just starting out kind of laboring for the company? Gotcha. James, from now on, I'm going to do my best to refer to you as James and not Gibson, because I'm going to look over here and see Gibson, and then I'm going to fudge it. I'm trying to watch my language because I'm live. Oh, that's nice. So that's the perfect way to start. So I tell everyone get into this industry that I talk to at a personal level. Don't, and I say it in my videos too, and I'm going to harp on this for as long as this channel exists. Don't skip the shovel time. And also, it's really easy to get in the mindset of, oh, I'm stuck on the shovel today, I don't get to operate. Don't get stuck in that mentality. Use that shovel time to learn, soak it all up. There's stuff that I use on a daily basis that I learned back when I was stuck on a shovel for a couple years. Yeah, it can suck sometimes because it's manual labor in the sun and it's hot, but at the same time, the knowledge that you're getting, if you take the time to pay attention to what's going on, if you take, the time that you're leaning on the shovel because you don't have something to do, use that time to watch the good operators, and you're going to know who a good operator is versus a bad operator. Use that time to pick up their skill set and their techniques and how they go about stuff, and that shovel time is so valuable. I cannot stress that enough. So Marcus, along what you're saying, I'm glad to hear that, because I'm always torn on whether you guys actually like seeing me operate or you're here more for the training content. That being said, I just hammered down details on a trip to Kentucky. Let's see here, I think towards the end of February. I have wanted to run track loaders my entire life, and I moved out of Texas before I really got into operating most of the equipment, so I never had the opportunity to down there. And then up here in Michigan, we don't have track loaders. We don't run them. The soil's generally not good enough to really support a track loader for digging basements and stuff. So for the first time in my career, in February, I get to go run a track loader, and you guys get to follow along and watch me fumble along as I learn a new piece of equipment. So if you're not familiar with track loaders, your forward and reverse is a V pattern in your left hand, and you actually steer with your feet. I've never been in a machine before that you really steer with your feet, so I suspect it's going to be a little entertaining to watch me learn how to run that machine. We'll see. We'll see how good I pick it up. So industries and businesses that you can start in. Honestly, the path that I went through, I would highly recommend to most people, which is hiring at a small residential company, because you get a lot of experience fast, because generally they're pretty short on manpower anyway, and you get a huge variety of experience. So, for instance, I'm up here in Michigan. I don't know where you're at, Carbox, but up here in Michigan we dig basements, and so you get experience digging deep holes. So you're going to get experience benching down, understanding how to dig a safe hole. you're doing a water and sewer tap, so you're not going to dig down to the sewer main, but some of your sewer taps can get kind of deep, you probably, 10, 12 foot. So you are deep enough that you've got to be really careful. You have to know what you're doing. You really learn to watch the trench, which is really important anytime you're down in a hole. You learn how to actually tap onto the leads, which also gives you an idea of the basic construction of the sanitary main. You do water taps, so you're going to know the basics of digging around utilities. You're going to learn how to actually tap a water lead. You're going to learn how to carry grade, both coming vertical, because you have to dig a flat trench when you're laying sanitary, because it has to have flow. And if there's any bellies in that pipe, that's where you get solids stuck in the pipe and it's not going to flow. So it's important you carry grade. So you're going to learn how to carry grade. Then when you get into the actual basement dig, you're going to learn how to dig flat, which is one of the most important skills you can develop in an excavator. And working at a residential company, you're practicing that every day because you're digging basements. Then you flip over to backfilling and finish grading. You get super valuable skid steer experience, you get super valuable dozer experience, and it's all fine grading. I think I've talked about it before in my videos, but there's a huge difference between a dozer operator that can just hog material, which is a skill in its own. Doing that efficiently is great, but where you really earn your keep and you really earn your money in a dozer is learning how to finish grade. And on the residential side, you're always finish grading. You're responsible for making sure that lot is ready for the landscape crew. So yes, there are other avenues you can get into the construction industry, by all means, and none of them are going to be bad. But I highly recommend going with a smaller residential company, just because you get so much experience that then immediately transfers down the road if you go to a commercial company. You've already got the fundamental skills of, you can carry grade in a dozer, you can dig flat in an excavator, you can see what a slope looks like and dig a flat slope down in a trench with an excavator, you can bench safely. Those are all skills that are going to apply when you go over to a big commercial company doing, heavy civil jobs. Let's see here. So where are you at in Australia, Phil? I'm sorry, I've already forgot your name. I'm sorry. Terrible person. It is Phil. That was a close one. Where are you at in Australia, and what time is it there? You got to be in the early hours of the morning, man. So are you Carbox? Do they dig basements down there in South Carolina? I think you might be far enough south you guys don't really do basements. You might do mostly slab on grade. Let's see here. So Jimmy, that really excites me that you have that much experience and you still find something of value on my channel. Like that's one of the things that I kind of go back and forth in my mind is, like, I don't want experienced operators and foremen to look at my channel and go, this guy is kind of full of crap. So first of all, thank you. I really appreciate your support. But then secondly, I actually want to lean on you guys and other guys like you. Feel free to jump in on any of these comment threads. I don't have foreman experience. I've been in the industry for a while, but I never had true foreman experience. I ran a small crew for that residential company I worked for. But you've got so much valuable information that you can pass on to a lot of these newbies. And I would totally appreciate you guys jumping in on some of these questions and helping me out. There's only so much I know and so much I can do. You guys have awesome experience. Oh, so officially Happy New Year, Phil. So Carbox, that's so if it's mostly slab on grade, you're not necessarily going to get the deep dig experience, but you're still, with slab on grade, you're going to be doing, I'm assuming you're probably doing a lot more dozer work. What are you guys digging with, a backhoe or an excavator? Because if it was anything like Texas, if I remember right, we would build up a sand pad. I didn't actually do it. But they would build up a sand pad, and then they would actually trench for the footers, and then they would trench in all the plumbing. So what are you guys using to dig with? I mean, at the same time, you're still going to get that finish grade experience when you go to finish out the house. you're still going to get a lot of valuable experience on the residential side. And it's really easy to get in on the residential side because most of those guys are hurting for laborers, first of all, which is an easy foot in the door. But even operators, getting qualified operators to come to these smaller companies, they just don't have the reach that some of the bigger companies do. So generally they're looking for people. So again, it's just a great foot in the door, but don't be opposed to going to a bigger company and applying. Those guys are looking too. You're just going to get a totally different skill set right off the bat. And the other disadvantage at going to a big company is it's going to be a lot slower for them to put you in the seat of a machine. I can get behind wine cellars, Jimmy. My folks are big winos, and as a result, my wife and I are kind of winos. So I can get behind digging some wine cellars. Hey Carson, what's going on, bud? Yeah, I'm rocking the full Shifsky setup tonight. So I really appreciate the sweatshirt and the hats. By the way, if you guys haven't seen Shifsky's channel, Carson's channel, go check out Carson's channel. I did a couple videos on him and his brother. They've got an awesome business. They just bought it from Dad. They're getting into the dirt work. Go check them out. It's awesome. Yeah, so Carbox, if you can run a mini excavator, so here, if you can run a small hoe, you can run a big hoe. The only difference is how big it is and how slow it turns. Believe it or not, it's actually a little more difficult to grade in a little hoe because they are so jerky and they move a lot quicker, and you've got a much shorter radius on your stick. So if you can run a mini, then you can absolutely move into the big hoes. It's just getting used to the bigger machine. But I would say probably within an hour of sitting in the seat of a bigger machine, you're pretty much used to it. You already have the hand motions down. Those aren't really going to change. So again, super valuable experience there. I appreciate it, Phil. Like I said, you're one of the guys that I can pretty much set my clock to on you commenting on the videos, and that really means a lot. I don't just respond with a regurgitated answer every time. I legitimately appreciate you commenting every time. By the way, Carson, if you're still around, I don't see if you're still around, but if you are, tell your brother I said hi. Oh, you are still here. And your dad, too. I got to meet, for everybody on the channel or in the chat here, I got to meet Pops, too. I got to meet the whole family when I was in Minnesota. It was awesome. It was a good time. So just so I don't take anyone by surprise, I'm probably going to try to wrap this up in the next like 15 to 20 minutes. Because while it is New Year's and I am 80 and I'm not going to stay up all night, my wife and I are going to do like a pre-New Year's celebration. So we'll celebrate on Phil's time. We'll just call it that. We'll celebrate on Australia time. That way we can go to bed at a reasonable hour. Yeah, I had a lot of fun out there in Minnesota, in all honesty. That was a really interesting dynamic because I thought that Carson was going to have to go out of his way to make some work for me, and within, I don't know, what was it, Carson, like an hour or two of me getting there, you guys threw the track, and it ended up being a legitimate, like, oh, I need some help. So that was a good time. In the spring, man, like, no joke, I was talking to Melissa, my wife, and legitimately in the spring, if we can make it back out there, I'm going to try to head your way again. I'm going to Kentucky in February. So we're going to do something down in Kentucky similar to what I did with you and your brother. Except I get to run a track loader. That's going to be badass. Excuse me. Awesome. Forgot I'm live. Can't edit it. That's going to take some getting used to on here. Dude, I'm all about the operator showdown. So just to let everybody else know, one of the things we were talking about, if we had time, Carson runs deer controls and I run cat controls. So we're gonna try to do a dig off where we can both get in a hoe side by side, and we'll figure out what we have to do. Maybe it's just dig a 60-foot long trench, 3-foot deep, or we have to dig a 5-foot by 5-foot square hole. We'll figure something out, but we're gonna dig in each other's patterns and see who picks it up quicker and we're both gonna look like it's our first day on the job. So it'll be a good time. Yeah, so Carbox, that great question. Because I want to keep announcing it on the 24th of. Let me make sure I'm doing this right on my calendar. I think it's the 24th of January. It's the last Sunday in January, and the reason I'm picking Sunday is because most guys are going to be home. Most guys are going to be kind of turning in early for work the next day. So I want to get it when people are home. But the 24th of January at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be going live, and I'm gonna say we'll keep it open, kind of like tonight, where you guys can ask anything. If this starts to take off and get popular, which I'm hoping it does, my plan is we'll have a topic of discussion. So maybe one night it's loaders, or one night it's dozers, and eventually down the road, I actually have a big enough space. You guys can't really see it here. I can pull the camera back, and I have a big enough space that I can get a second person in here. So I'd love to get, believe it or not, Carson, you and your brother, even if we do it via Skype or whatever we use, I'd love to get you guys on and answer some questions about owning a company. My buddy Rick, that you guys see in videos all the time, I'd like to get him here physically in person, so that we can kind of do a three-way conversation with you guys and then the two of us here in the room, so that you can ask him some questions about owning a business. He started in the logging industry, so maybe some questions about the logging industry. So yeah, this is absolutely my plan to start going live at least once a month, and we can really do some cool stuff with this. Hey, have a good one, Phil. Thanks for stopping in, man. We're looking forward to chatting again. Yeah, Carson, you and I will have to connect at some point and figure out how. I've got to do some homework on this and figure out how we can tie this all together with Zoom or Skype or something. And that way we can kind of do a three-way conversation without you guys having to, fly to Michigan or drive. Let me see what I can do on the logging stuff, Marcus. I know up in northern Michigan, there's quite a bit of logging. The problem is those suckers are always way back in the sticks, and unless you know where the entrance is to their site, you can't find it. And then the second thing is logging is way dangerous to just walk up on a job site. So that's another to-do that I'm kind of working on is hopefully in the spring, when everything, actually it's probably going to be closer to summer because they have to let it dry out so they can get back in the woods. But that is something I want to try contacting some logging companies, and I'll try to get you some footage of some logging stuff. I think that'll make some awesome drone footage. Flying through the trees, seeing those machines, taking trees down is going to be awesome. Yeah, Jimmy, so I started my career on deer controls, and then I had to switch to cat. And unfortunately, that was when I went from the residential company to this. It's one of the biggest companies in central Michigan for construction, Dan's Excavating. And I was out on this huge production job. We were doing, actually, Detroit Metro Airport. We were working on some taxiways. So it's like balls to the wall, go. And my foreman came over and asked if I knew how to run an excavator. Which of course I was like, yeah, absolutely. I've been digging basements for the past 2 years. I'm pretty dang good on an excavator. Not thinking about the fact that it was not going to be the control pattern I was used to. So my foreman, after about 10 miserable minutes of watching me look like it was my first day, came and booted me out of the seat. So that was my moment of humility, going from the residential world to the giant dirt job world. So that was a good time. Keeps you humble. Oh, Aaron, yeah, Pacific Northwest would be awesome for logging. Eventually, when I get some cash in the bank, I would absolutely love to come out that way and really focus on, first of all, you guys start getting into totally different conditions out there, so I'd like to do some regular job sites, but absolutely get into the logging. I know there's a bunch up in Canada. which once we stop being filthy COVID-infested Americans and Canada lets us back up there, I've already got a couple job sites lined out that I can go work with some guys on, but I'd also like to get some more logging stuff. So on understanding cost and production, that is absolutely, I will get there. It is on my agenda to get there. But because my channel's been geared so much to guys getting into the industry, in fact, this is actually a great topic to have Carson and his brother on. But yeah, for now, really my topics have been focused on just kind of the basics of giving you a basic skill set to get going in the industry, just because what we found through analyzing my audience is a lot of them are younger guys that are just getting into the industry. And so I don't want to go from here and then jump to here and lose a bunch of people, but it is absolutely on my agenda to start talking about, you know, a couple down and dirty topics I've got coming up is what equipment should you buy to start a business? How do you go about starting a business? That's where I'd like to have Carson on, my buddy Rick. And then we'll start getting into the more detailed stuff of, you know, tracking production, tracking job site costs and all that stuff. We'll definitely get there, but baby steps. Yeah, I absolutely want to do that one together, Carson. That would be, because I honestly, and I told you this when I was in town in Minnesota, that's one area of the business, believe it or not, I have zero experience in. I didn't even know what construction equipment cost until I went and sold it for 2 years. I had zero idea how much an excavator cost or a dozer or a loader. And I will tell you, once you understand the cost of the equipment, you respect it way more. I had no idea the price tags were quite so high on some of this equipment. But as far as bidding jobs, doing materials estimations, taking a print and then figuring out how you're going to go bid it, no experience whatsoever. So I'm going to lean on you, Carson, pretty much totally on that one. So fair warning. I'll send you a paycheck. Actually, we'll bill that back against the consulting fees that I billed you for when we were there. We'll just even trade. Yeah, let me see what I can do on the logging, Marcus. We'll definitely see what we can do, but I doubt you're going to see any tether logging here in Michigan just because it's so flat. It's pretty much all going to be skidder work. But if I can ever make it to the Northwest, I got family in Idaho, so I might be able to make an excuse again down the road when I got some money in the business bank account that I can go out there and maybe get some good logging jobs. All right, let's try to wrap it up in about 10 minutes, guys. I don't want to rush you, but it does seem to be slowing down in the chat too, so. By the way, the lighting setup is going to get changed in here. I'm going to build out this backdrop, so it's going to look a lot nicer. I'm actually going to get the new logo cut out of some stamped steel and hang it on the wall so that there's something to look at, so that it's not just like a boring green wall. So I've got plans, guys. I've got plans. I just need money to make them happen. It's coming slowly but surely. Getting into shape for working. Full body, man. That's all I can tell you, because you go spend a day on a shovel and it's going to be a full body experience. I will say, if you can watch your eating, that's what gets everybody in this business, especially operators, because you get bored in that cab, and the way to keep busy is to start stuffing your face full of food. If you can watch your eating, this is actually a great way to get in shape quick, because it is such a full body workout. Shoveling alone, you're using mostly your upper body all day long. Then you start getting into carrying, pipe around and carrying shovels. And if you're doing any concrete work, man, concrete work will bust you wide open, but you're gonna get ripped off of it because it is a ton of back-breaking labor. So yeah, I would just say hit the full body. You're gonna be up and down out of machines all day long, so you're getting the legs pretty good. You're going to be in and out of trenches, again, getting your legs pretty good. You're going to be carrying materials, so you're going to be getting arms pretty good. Your shoveling is really going to work your core because you're twisting to get into the dirt. So yeah, really full body. Okay, so Kobelco. Thank you, Carson. You're really going to carry the conversation for the last bit of this. Kobelco excavators. I've sold, so let me back up. I've run Komatsu and Cat primarily at my old employers. We did run Case excavator at the small residential company that I was at. I have spent some time in a Hitachi and a Hyundai, not extensively, but enough to kind of get a feel for them. So that's really, I came into selling equipment thinking that Cat was like the cat's ass. It was the greatest on excavators. And I went and sold Case equipment, and then we also sold Kobelco excavators. Case makes a really nice excavator. In fact, I will tell you, if nothing else, you should take away from my channel, and just because I'm on it all the time, Case actually is a very underrated brand. They put out some really solid equipment, and I will even go as far to say, and I know you guys can call me dirty names. I know, especially probably Jimmy being on the job site as long as he has, he's going to call me a dirty name, but Case makes one of the best freaking dozers on the market. No joke. Now, that being said, when it comes to hose, when I really started learning about Kobelco, I didn't know anything about Kobelco when I started in the industry or when I started at this company selling the equipment. They are a Japanese company. All they make is excavators and cranes. So as a result, you can get into a solid machine. These are really, really well-built machines because this is all they do. You can get into a really good machine, and you can get into it, no joke, when you're talking like a 316 size Cat comparable hoe, you can get into a Kobelco for about $20,000 cheaper than you can its Case equivalent. And Case is actually, I don't know, probably 10 grand cheaper than a Cat, 5 to 10 grand roughly, depends on how competitive Cat wants to get. So you can get into a Kobelco for way less than other hoe manufacturers, but you're really getting into a solid product. Just if you take the excavator itself, like just comparing apples to apples, it's a really rugged built machine. It's really, really stout. They've reinforced a lot of areas on like the track undercarriage, up on the boom and the stick. You're never going to have any cracking issues up there because they've reinforced it so much. But then you get into details like the hydraulic intake for the pump is actually elevated off of the pans inside the machine, so that if you ever swing over something and like a rock rolls up on the track and dents the, sorry, my voice is cracking like a 12-year-old, and it dents the underside of that upper structure, it's not going to cause any hydraulic issues because the thing's elevated. I want to say it's like 4 to 6 inches off of the bottom of the pan. When you get inside the cab, pretty much all other manufacturers will have a power boost, is what a lot of them call it, button, where it actually temporarily increases your engine RPMs and it temporarily increases your pump pressures. On pretty much every other, in fact, I think every other manufacturer, that is a timed function. So you'll hit the power boost, you will feel it for about 6 to 10 seconds, and then you can't use it for, I think it's 20 to 30 seconds while the system kind of cools back down. Kobelco, you can hit power boost and leave it on. And no joke, I wasn't digging in extreme conditions, so just to kind of be fair. But I was out back digging in our yard one day in one of our Kobelco hoes, putting it through its paces, and legitimately I couldn't find an excuse to use the power boost because it was digging so well. And that's when I looked down and realized that I was actually running in economy mode. I mean, no joke. I was as blown away as some of you might be with me telling you that. But yeah, that's how much power those hoes have. The other big advantage that they have when you start getting into like the SK170, I think it is, which is the equivalent to a Cat 316, they have The ability to split your hydraulic pumps to where one of the pumps will only work your hydraulic functions on the hoe, and one of the pumps will only work your travel motors. And what that allows you to do is go into a smooth crane mode. This is, nobody else on the market has this, and for guys like Jimmy, again, being on the job and probably working with some pretty decent sized storm pipe and stuff, one of the most frustrating things where you've got to really be careful in a hoe is when you are craning pipe or something strung under your bucket and you're swinging over your guys while you're catting the machine forward, while you're tracking forward. Because as soon as you start tracking, all of your hydraulic functions immediately slow down, and it causes a big jump, and that causes your load to sway. And similarly, when you stop traveling, all of a sudden there's this big jump that everything starts to react a lot faster again. With the Kobelco, when you put it into this travel mode function or the crane mode function, that totally stops because those hydraulic pumps split. And so your functions slow down a little bit and your travel slows down a little bit, but overall you have way more control over your load because you no longer have to worry about when you're letting off of your travel pedals or when you're pushing down on your travel pedals. Everything is smooth throughout the whole operation. So it's stuff like that that Kobelco has done really well, that's above and beyond what anyone else in the excavator world is doing. And again, it all boils down to all they do is excavators, so they have time to sit around and think about this stuff, and they have really nice features that they've implemented on their machines that nobody else has. Oh, let's see here. By the way, their hybrid machine is incredible, not only for the fuel savings, but because of the production increase. And sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I'll come back to your questions here in just a second. Now you guys got me on my Kobelco binge. You're going to learn that I really love Kobelco, and I go on these binges when I talk about it. I love them that much. So their hybrid machine, you actually have electric swing motors. And the way the machine functions is it is totally electric to swing. It works as a motor when you are initiating the swing, but when you come to where you are stopping the swing, instead of applying a swing brake like most excavators do, what it does is it actually turns into a generator. It uses the resistance of the motor to put power back into a battery bank in the machine. So I don't remember the actual statistics. I want to say it's like a 13 or 18% fuel economy savings. It's not like, oh my God, that's amazing, but it's enough that as a contractor, you're going to kind of go, oh, that's a decent savings on fuel economy. Where it really goes above and beyond is if you think about, and I just talked about this in my How Hydraulics Work video, when you are doing multiple functions, so when you're swinging the machine, swinging by itself, that function takes a fair amount of oil and it slows down all your other functions. But when you're swinging, you're sticking out, you're booming down, and you're getting ready to dump your bucket. That's a lot of strain on your hydraulic system because it's a lot of oil that pump's trying to put out. And so as a result, everything slows down a little bit. With that Kobelco hybrid, you don't have to worry about your swing function anymore. It doesn't use hydraulic oil. It's using an electric motor. So now you can turn at full speed while you're sticking out and booming down and uncurling your bucket to dump at full speed. You don't have that drain on the hydraulic system anymore. So from a production standpoint, you get like I don't even remember what it is, but it's like an 18% boost to productivity. And I even call that into question, because I think if you put the right operator in there, you could actually get a bigger performance increase because they're already going to know how to be efficient in the machine anyway. It's going to take them a half hour or so to get used to that, no lag swing speed. And then I think they're really going to become productive. So yeah, Kobelco is awesome. I would highly recommend you guys check out Kobelco. All right, let's see here. Let me catch back up because I've been on my Kobelco rant for a little bit here. Aaron, I agree, and that is one aspect of the job that I really, so going back to your estimating and analyzing, I would love to know more about that. In fact, I've talked to Rick multiple times to take me out on some bids just to teach me that, because it does help you understand far more what's going on the job site, and you think about it totally different when when you're at least aware of the money that's going into the job and how efficiency really impacts your bottom line, it does absolutely, it absolutely makes a big impact on how you think about the job. Aaron, 100% behind you on Case making good loaders. I ran Komatsu is what I cut my teeth on, and I wasn't a fan of their interiors of their cabs, and they had no ass. Then I got in a Cat 938, and I loved the cab on it. But what I couldn't stand on it was the hydrostatic transmission, because whenever I would go and I had a truck right next to a pile and I was loading the truck, when I would transfer from, see, I told you guys wrap this up in 10 minutes, and then you got me on the Kobelco rant, and here we are. I'm still going. But when you would reverse to go from the pile, and you know, I try to stay really efficient when I'm loading trucks in a loader. So no more than about 3 wheel rotations before you are going back to the truck to dump your load in. And so the problem with the hydrostat transmission is when you're loading that efficiently, there is a lag when you flip from reverse to forward, because it's all tied to your hydraulic system. Your bucket is in midair transitioning to go up to the truck, and it lags and it stops in midair for, I don't know, it feels like eternity, but it's probably a half second, maybe a second. It lags and then it starts going up again. I wasn't used to that coming from the Komatsu, and so my first couple trucks I loaded, I almost slammed into the side of the truck a couple times because of that. Outside of that, I really love the Cat 938. It's got a really nice cab on it, really comfortable, a lot of room, and then it had way more ass than that Komatsu. I was able to pick up some pretty massive trench boxes with that thing that the Komatsu wouldn't even touch. But all that to say, that's why I like the Case loader, is because they took all of the elements of the Cat that I like, the cab and everything, but then they put a real transmission in it instead of going with the cheaper hydrostatic option. The only complaint I have about Case, and I told my rep this 20 times over, they need an additional counterweight in the back. We actually worked with some of our contractors to give them a pattern where they could go and get some plate steel and cut it in the general shape of the rear counterweight and bolt it to the bottom of the rear counterweight. We couldn't do it as the dealership because, you know, we're now outside the parameters of the machine, and you can't do that as a dealership. But we also knew how to fudge the lines, and we could give you the pattern and we could tell you how to do it. We just couldn't do it. But I love Case loaders, love them. Oh, I already forgot your name, Gibson. Dang it, gotta scroll up. What is it? James. James, totally agree. And this is coming from both the guy that's been on the in and the guy that sold the equipment. Above and beyond what brand you would love to have, service is absolutely number one. Your service and having a sales guy that's got your back are the 2 biggest things. If you're going to go buy a piece of equipment, those are the 2 biggest things I will tell you. They need to come above and beyond. I don't care if you go get one of those new freaking Chinese Sanies or whatever they're called. If you've got a rep that has your back and you have a service department that isn't trying to screw you and will show up on the job when your machine is down, go buy the Sani. I mean, it is 100% worth it to have that support on the machine. Yeah, Case skips, those are solid machines. I think I sold 4 or 5 of them. I sold more than any other salesman in our company, and 0 problems with those things. I mean, they're based off of the 580M backhoe. So, I mean, they've got a solid track record. They're really good machines. Yeah, so that is one thing. I'm wondering if Kobelco, going back to James and you talking about the crane mode, I'm kind of wondering if Kobelco has that patented, because no one else has come out with it and they've had it for a while. So, to me, it makes sense that if I was Cat, I'd absolutely jump on that idea. Oh, Carbox, that is it would take me an entire evening and a crap load of Googling to break that down. There are so many industries and there's so many you would never even think of. I'll tell you an industry that's kind of not earth moving exactly. Well, it is hydro excavating. You want to talk about a fascinating industry that most guys don't know about? Go do some Google searches on hydro excavating. That's one of the things I want to do in the spring too, is get on with a company that does some hydro excavating to show you guys that aspect of the industry. It is growing leaps and bounds because there's so many utilities in the ground. There's so much stuff you have to dig around. And hydro excavating, you can dig that stuff up without actually damaging it. Go do a couple video searches on those. That's how like niche down you can get into different aspects of the industry. It would take me forever to list all of that out. I could give you some high level ones, but even there, doing this live in front of people, I'm going to struggle with. I mean, there's just so many different facets of the industry. It would be really difficult. If you're looking for a direction, I would say kind of think about things that you generally like, whether you like travel, whether you like staying at home, what kind of hours do you like working, and then you can kind of back your way into some industries that will really work for you and will kind of give you the ability to keep the schedule you want, be around home, or travel and see the country. For that matter, do marine work, you can go see the world. I mean, those marine guys will actually go across overseas and do work sometimes. So it just depends. Best GPS system, Carson. God, you hit me with some hard ones, man. This is where I'm biased because I sold it, and so I have more time with it under my belt, and I got to see all the neat, nifty features of it because I was selling it. But I would say the Leica systems. So Cat's done a really good job, as everyone is really aware when you dive into it. Cat's done a really good job with marketing, and that's where Trimble really did a great job of partnering up with Cat because they had the marketing power. And so now everybody and their mom knows the name Trimble. Topcon's the other big one, and I think they partnered up for the most part with Komatsu. But really when it comes down to functionality, not only functionality but size, Leica is actually one of they are way, way, way bigger when it comes to GPS than Trimble or Topcon. But they're not known for machine control. They're really big in the surveying world and stuff like that. Leica is the name on that side of the industry. It's machine control because they partnered up with Case, and Case does an absolute, what's the word I'm looking for that's not a swear word, terrible SE job of marketing. You don't hear about Leica when it comes to machine control, but it's really the layout, the color scheme is really easy to read in the cab. They actually have a really cool 3D view where you can actually take the print from a 2D view and you can flip it up. And the way it was described to me, I never actually saw it on a job site where you could really use it. But if you had a golf course you were working on with all of the moguls and the hills and everything, the berms, you could actually rotate it into 3D view, and you could actually, with the lines on the screen, you could get a feel for what the topography of that job was going to look like when you were done. So functions like that were really cool with the Leica system. The fact that Leica doesn't put their computers out on the masts, the reason Trimble costs, if you knock a mast off of a Trimble system, off of a Cat dozer, one of those masts I want to say it's like $10,000, and it's because the computer itself is in that dome, and that's why their domes are so thick. If you go back to that 2-week landscaping job I did where we had that, I think it was an 1150M dozer, and I had a GPS system on it, and you go look at the discs on the Leica system, they're only about this thick. They're pretty thin, and they are only the receiver. So if you knock one of those suckers off, you're only talking about a $1,500 cost to replace versus the $8,000 to $10,000 that the Trimble is. And it's because the computer itself, the brain of the unit, is inside the machine. And it's well protected. You're not going to damage that unless, even if you rolled the machine over, it's inside the machine. You're not going to damage it. So there's a lot of benefits to Leica. They're just not as well known. Ooh, Carson, shots fired on Cat. I like it. I don't want to knock anybody, but yeah. Yeah, James, I was never a fan of Deere dozers. I never thought they pushed well, and we had some pretty bad breakdowns on some of our Deere dozers, so I've never been a fan of their dozers. So when it comes to skids, I'm assuming you're talking about a skid there, James. I would say offload that skid. Takeuchi used to have really great skid steers until all of the emission stuff happened. And ever since the emission stuff happened, they've had horrendous issues with emissions problems and breakdowns. As much as I hate to say it, because we had an old Mustang, which is just a rebadged Takeuchi. As much as I hate to say it, you're probably better off ditching that Tak when you can and switching over to another brand. I'm not going to tell you what brand. I don't want to come off as biased or anything, but I would say the Taks are actually, unfortunately, creating a pretty bad name for themselves in the industry right now because of all of the emissions issues they're having. Yeah, those Ditch Witch trailers are awesome. What I used to sell, if you guys get a chance to go on their website, check out Vacall. They make sewer trucks, which is a whole other side of this business. That's not even technically earth moving, but I do want to do a video on those guys that clean out the sanitary sewer. Those vac trucks are incredible pieces of equipment and engineering. But Vacall also, which, by the way, they're called Vacall because it is the Gradall company, those excavators with the telescopic booms that you see cleaning ditches everywhere. Gradall bought an old company called Clean Earth Products, took it off the market because it was again, trying not to swear, crappy product, totally revamped it and came back out on the market, and it's the Vacall because it's vacuum trucks. See what they did there? But they also make the hydro excavator, and it is a beast. It would absolutely suck your leg off of you, and that's not even a joke. Like, that's how much sucking power those machines have. They are incredible. Scared the poop out of a crew that we were hydro excavating around some utilities, and there was a rock about this big, and they weren't really paying attention with the vac line, and when that thing went up in there, it sounded like a bomb went off. It made everyone on the crew jump, and me and my rep died laughing because we knew what was going to happen. Incredible machines. Those things are awesome. They put those little vac trailers to shame. Like, it's not even on the same plane as those vac trailers. Check those out when you get a chance. I'll try to do a video in the spring when I can, get some videos of that. Yeah, Jimmy, that was pretty much what it was on our job site too. If you knock the mast off a dozer, yeah, unless you've got a really good reason, like the foreman told you to get down in the woods and really, and it was totally on him, yeah, if you knock those masts off, you're pretty much off the job. So, Carbox. Yeah, I'm in agreement. A 1 hour stream is just about right. So I am going to start wrapping this up. But yes, the 24th of January, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. When I get off here, I will put that information in the description so that you guys will have something to go off of. I need to do some homework on this. I need to see if I can add a little button that will automatically add it to your calendar or something when you click the button. But yeah, the 24th, 7:30 p.m. We'll go live and we'll do the same thing. Kind of keep an hour and a half timeline depending on how busy it gets and everything, and we'll go from there. Hey, Happy New Year, Carson. It was a blast working with you guys. I can't wait to come back out there. Tell your family I said hello. Tell them Happy New Year. Hey, so is this Michelle or is this Angelo? So Reality is a Comedy. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to some of the videos like my concrete pumper truck and stuff. I did a promotional video for him, but this is my buddy Angelo or his wife Michelle or both. We'll see. We'll see what they say. But hello guys. Happy New Year. Hey, Happy New Year, James. I appreciate the support, guys. Gavin, appreciate it, man. So it's Angelo and Michelle. Hi guys. First YouTube live, and it's actually, we're having a conversation. I thought for sure I was going to be sitting here in a room by myself with a camera just making small talk and twiddling my thumbs. Hey Ryan, Happy New Year. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, he caught the tail end, but hey, I will take it. I will take it. So yeah, I'm gonna start wrapping up, guys. I'm 10 minutes out from the wife coming and knocking on the door here, so I better call it a night. Really, honestly, I can't tell you guys enough. I've seen so much growth, even in the past like month and a half. I'm thrilled to death. So thank you so much. Let me know if you guys need anything. I think it was, I don't remember, it was Carbox, whoever it was. If you're wanting some mentoring, absolutely shoot me a message or an email. Again, thatdiggerdude@gmail.com. I've got no problem setting up a call and doing something like that. But I'm not even going to try to say your name. I am going to try to say the name. 13 Rhett 91. I don't even know what that is. Brett. It's Brett. I'm old. I'm sorry. Brett, Happy New Year's, man. Appreciate you stopping in. So you guys have a good night. I'm shutting this baby down. And we'll see you guys on the 24th at 7:30 p.m. You guys have a good night. We'll see you guys next time.